Thanks for downloading this episode from Teachers Talk Radio. You can find the full schedule and listen back to all our shows at ttradio.org. Enjoy the podcast.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How are we all? Enjoying
we are tired for having a long weekend. That's what we are.
It's an extra day to do nothing.
Yeah. Although mine was quite busy. We had friends up from London. They left this morning, so it's been very busy. And then today I've done a mixture of work and nothing. So very tired.
Nothing sounds like a teacher's bank holiday, right?
Pretty much, yeah. But I've had this weird. Basically, I apologize in advance if there's a lot of sniffling or coughing or sneezing, because I never in my life had hay fever, but this like faucet that's running in my face isn't turning off, and I don't think it's an illness because it's been going on too long, and I don't really know what it is, but it's I think it's draining me, whatever it is. Yeah.
Ray's cat makes an appearance early on in the show. Your cats usually come on later.
Yeah, he's feeling lively, that one.
Very good, very good. I feel like you look very professional.
Oh, sorry, say that again.
You look very professional, and I just realized I look like I'm sitting in a cardboard box.
You do, but I'm hardly professional. There's a rainbow and dolphins on my jumper. It's not
teacher
not workwear.
Teacher fashion.
Bank holiday teacher fashion.
Yeah, for sure. So I just said, like, before we went live, I feel like we haven't been on for ages.
Yeah, I was gonna say that today's like the first day in what feels like forever that we're actually speaking.
So we had like the Easter holidays for 2 weeks, and then we got last Monday. Yeah, it's been a while. Thanks for listening. If you're listening, I think how was your Easter holiday? Let's start with the Easter holidays. How was your holiday?
Yeah, we went to Riga, so I've been to Latvia now, which is interesting.
Nice.
And it's a great city. I had no expectations. I just went wherever Ryanair was having a sale, and there was a spa hotel. So I had no expectations for it. I was like, this is just going to be a nice 4 days away. And it's beautiful. The old town's gorgeous, and people are really nice, and there are cats everywhere. And
there are cats there. Do your cats know that you betrayed them with other cats?
Well, here's the thing. I tried to betray them. There aren't actually that many stray cats. I just mean there's like cats. It's one of the logos of the city, one of the like symbols of the city. And then there's a Latvian film that came out recently, Flow, I think, that features a black cat. So that cat is everywhere. Like the stuff from the film is everywhere. And then there were a few stray cats, and I tried to cheat on my cats, but the Latvian cats were not really having any of it. They were not interested. I tried. I got rejected multiple times.
Very like teacher holiday, right? Because we're always like, oh, where can we go that's cheap? Because we're always on holiday at the most expensive times. Like, where's cheap to go? Well, the whole country is on holiday, and I want to leave the country. Where can I go?
Anywhere. Anywhere. It was good though. What have you been up to?
Nothing. Well, we went to Spain for the Easter holidays. We went to Malaga, Marbella. I went a year ago, so I've kind of been to that area before. I must say, the weather was a little bit too English for me. Sorry if you're listening from Spain. We apologize. We don't mean to offend. We are English.
Ish.
Well, you live in England now, and I'm from England. Well, I'm not from England, but I live. I'm from England, kind of.
I do when I'm talking to the kids, and I'm talking about this country, or I'm talking about British history. I'm talking about Britain. I always say we and us. Like, I include myself in this. So I talk about like our laws and our history, and
I feel
what
like
we
as
do, you know, all those things. So
I feel like as a teacher, like when I go on holiday, I want to go somewhere warm. I don't know.
Mhm.
And it's problematic because most of the year you have to go far to get heat. Very nice gift.
If you're listening to this after the fact or not watching,
Yes,
there's a tail sharing the screen with me right now.
we'll do some
Um,
captions. Let's caption the action. Yeah, you're right. If you're listening,
sorry,
or
I have to embrace him, or he's just gonna kick off if I push him off me. So this is how it is now.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. If you're listening and not watching, Grace cat has made an appearance, but only its tail.
Only the tail.
Only the tail.
That's
Yeah.
what he's a bit camera shy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like teachers especially tend to go on this desperate search for warm
Yes.
weather, sunshine, climates. Like it's gonna improve our overall lives. And we normally do that, but then with the sales on, we were just like, let's just go somewhere we haven't been before for a city break, and who cares what the weather's like. And it's a good thing we didn't care because it was full winter for the first 2 days we were there, and then it got better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just have this image of like going away in Europe any time of like the school academic year and being able to like just lie at a pool.
Yeah.
Be warm and lie by a pool. That is like that's it. That's all I want. Yeah.
Same, but then you go somewhere that's not really warm, and because you feel like you have to lie by a pool, you end up lying by a pool in 18-degree weather. You're like, this is not fun.
Yeah, it's true.
What am I doing?
It's true.
And then you feel robbed of like a decent experience because you tried for something that can't happen, and it's just unsatisfying. It's like I'd rather go to Riga in April when it's actually still winter. I think I realized that after years of trying. But
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, you've got to like open your wallet a little more, I think, if you want heat in the school holidays.
Need a smarter way to teach? Wish your lessons had more impact? Eduflix.com. Stream educational films for teachers and students in or out of the classroom. Keep students engaged. No ads. No distractions. Try it free for 30 days at eduflix.com/try. Use code TTR. Get 50% off all orders made before June 1st. eduflix.com.
Hi secondary school teachers, we're Apps for Good, and we give schools like yours free introductory computing courses. Our courses are for everyone, including those who aren't computing teachers, and they're fully equipped with resources mapped to the UK computing curriculums. Independent learning is central to our courses. Your students will develop essential and digital skills by working in teams to create prototype apps. We'll even connect you with industry volunteers to give real-world feedback. Let's empower every young person you teach to shape their future with technology. Speak to us at www.appsforgood.org.
Did you know that every year, half of disadvantaged children who are top attainers at primary school don't go on to achieve top GCSE maths results? At Axiom Maths, we exist to change that. Our fully funded program helps schools nurture young mathematicians through weekly face-to-face maths circles, where pupils tackle challenging and exciting problems outside the national curriculum. With just under £3,000 annual funding, expert training and quality resources, we give schools everything they need to inspire the next generation of mathematical thinkers. Want to make a difference? Visit axiommaths.com today and join over 400 schools delivering maths circles across the UK.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Don't miss out! Level up your professional development today and visit johncattbookshop.com to explore the full range of titles. Use the code JCTTR2425 for 20% off your order. Happy reading!
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, well, welcome to the show. If you're listening, we hope you're enjoying your bank holiday. How was your bank holiday? Last time we spoke, you were killing spiders.
Yeah. I've had less of a stressful holiday this time, and
Yeah, we were
it's been,
stressed out with spiders.
yeah.
We spoke like animals in classrooms.
Yeah.
Like-
We talked about animals in classrooms. I don't even remember what we were supposed to be talking about, but it was basically just all the times our classrooms have been infiltrated by bugs. And what has been brought to my attention since that show, actually, because I've had a couple of messages from people that I went to school with in the Bahamas, or that taught me in the Bahamas, my former teachers, and they were like, what about the Bahamian bugs? Why didn't you talk about this? And I'm like, because I didn't want to go there. We spent 25 minutes talking about how traumatized I've been by spiders in this country. Do you think I want to talk about ground spiders the size of my hand that I had to grow up with? Absolutely not. Because I've seen those in schools too when I was a student.
In your class, I would die.
Not in the classroom, but I remember okay, right. I will tell this one story, and then we're moving on from this topic. We have to. So I was in I must have been year 10 or 11.
Okay.
And so my secondary school in Nassau in the Bahamas, it's one of those, it's built for the climate, right? So rather than one big building, it's all these kind of small buildings, like little squares of 4 classrooms kind of dotted around. And then there's like paths or bridges or whatever to get to the different blocks. And I was crossing one of these narrow bridges to get to the languages block. And there was this bottleneck at the end of the bridge. And I was like, is there a fight? Which was really rare in my school, really, really rare in my school. I was like, oh, is someone going to get suspended? You know, I was like, what's the drama? And so I crammed myself into this crowd, and I realized everyone's staring at the wall above one of the classroom doors. So it's on the outside. It's not indoors. It's like the outside of the classroom door leads into the open, into the outside, which is important. And I'm like, what are they staring at? And I'm like standing at this point, I'm standing at the edge of the bridge. It's just wide enough for 2 people to pass each other. And I see what they're staring at, and I just freeze. We call them ground spiders. I don't know what species they are. They're basically like tarantulas. And they are, I'm not kidding.
No.
They're like grown. They're the size of your face. And it's just sitting there on the wall above the door of the French room that I'm supposed to go into for my lesson. And it's just there. It's just there, which is unusual. I don't know why it was there. They're normally, as the name would suggest, on the ground under things. But it was just on the wall. So this like basically tarantula the size of my head was on the wall above my French room, and I froze, and I'm blocking the entire bridge now. Like people are literally pushing past me, apparently. People were explaining this to me afterwards. I have no memory of it. People are like shoving past me, and I'm not moving. Like I physically cannot move my body. I was that scared. Like I literally just froze. I couldn't move. And one of the Spanish teachers had to come around and like physically move me, like escort me, because I couldn't move my body into one of the Spanish rooms and like calm me down. And then I was hyperventilating, and it was one of the first panic attacks I remember having. But yeah, it was not fun. So like things like that, I don't really want to. I'd rather talk about the little tiny spider that was walking all over my hand in a lesson than relive my actual genuine childhood trauma. But yeah,
I think I'd bring you that for sure. Did it go away?
I don't know what happened to it. I have no idea what happened to it. I wouldn't go anywhere near there. I had to go, and I remember I wouldn't go in the French lesson because there were 2 doors. There was the one door, and then there was one around the side. But I was like, I'm not going in that room because it's just outside the room. I'm not going in there. So I didn't go in that lesson. And then to get wherever I had to go next, I don't remember what lesson it was, but I had to like go around the back way. I think I had to go like down all the way to the ground floor, which was like down a level off a cliff, and like up a hill around. Like I had to do like a 6-minute walk around the whole campus to get to my next lesson, because I wouldn't go anywhere near it. I don't know what happened.
I would have died.
Sorry?
I would have died.
Yeah, well, I felt like I did. I was like, I
would have been the same. How did everyone else just walk into the lesson?
No idea. I don't know.
Oh my god, I would
no idea.
Exactly the same as you.
Yeah. And that's one time of a few that I've seen them in schools and around my house. So yeah, so we don't talk about Bahamian bugs.
In your house? No.
Not in
God.
my house. I've never seen one in my house. I've seen one in other people's houses, but not in my house. Yeah.
Oh my God, I would die. I actually, there's a school, it's like an international school in the Bahamas, and I don't know who it is, but they like come up a lot with jobs, and I'm always like, now I'm like, no, thank you. No.
It's probably King's. Yeah, that's not my one, because that school that's probably coming up a lot is
Oh, okay.
newer.
Maybe.
It wasn't even there when I lived there when I was a student. No, mine was a different one, like the other end of the island. But yeah, they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
I would not die. No, can't. I can't.
But you don't. I guess it's kind of like we're still talking. Oh my God, we're talking about this again. Okay, right. This has to be brief. I feel like it's like Australia. Like people go on weeks, months long holidays, trips to Australia, and don't see anything that any kind of spider, scorpion, weird, whatever other deadly things they have in that country. Whereas some people go, luck of the draw, they're like surrounded by huntsmen and scary things immediately, like on day 2. So I think, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's yeah. It just depends on where you are and how unlucky you are, I guess. But
well,
I wouldn't say don't go. I'd say maybe like the next time an international job comes up, just like do your research about how common bugs are. But yeah,
research the insect population of the country you are going to.
yeah.
Thanks.
And maybe ask. Okay, so you know how when you're considering applying for a job at a school, and the best thing to do is talk to staff who are there who don't have a vested interest in swinging it either way, who are just actually going to be honest. That's the best insight into a school. When you're if you get the chance to do that, because it's obviously not everyone can do that all the time, but if you're talking to current staff members or recent staff members and getting their honest opinion about a school, just ask about bugs as well. Just like, do you ever see any tarantulas on the side of the language block?
In an interview, do you have any other questions about the school?
Yes.
Bugs are in the building, because that's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah. What is your pest control situation? Show me your policy. Yeah.
You have pest control managers in SLT. Can you imagine? I'm the English lead, and yes, what are you? I'm the pest control lead. Oh God! If they gave that to me, I'd be like, no, thank you. I'll pay you for me to not do that job. No, thank you. Thank you.
It's worth asking.
Yeah.
Anyway, no more spiders. So, what are we actually discussing? We're just it's related. See, we always do this. We always kind of make it relevant and then continue to get distracted for another half an hour. Yeah.
By teacher
story. Yeah. So being the new guy or the new girl or the new person in a school, starting a new school.
Yes.
So your situation is at the minute is interesting. Do you want to provide a little York Notes version of where you're at with new schools?
I don't know what York Notes are. What are York
Notes? Well, I use them for A level. Well, I don't use them, but students use them for A level. It's like you're primary school, right? It's like a book of notes and information about a text, and some students think that they can read the Spark Notes or the York Notes or the Cliffs Notes or the whatever notes and not actually read the book. It's like a summary. Yeah, okay. They're lazy.
I'll give you the blurb of my life over the past few months. So this is my cardboard box background, and I have had different backgrounds over the past few weeks. So I moved to France, I moved to Paris, and I have a job at an international school in Paris. So I am the newbie. And it like so we decided to talk about like being a newbie in school and like what is it like and how do you like fit in, some maybe like some tips even for like if you're listening, thank you for listening. If you're a newbie, we've all been newbies, so what are your like top tips? Now I haven't started yet, I'm starting soon, but one of my, it's not a tip, it's just something like, it's a bit of a joke, but it's kind of something that like I've always done, and I feel like you have to like make friendships with certain people in the school, and I find there are like 3 people that you should, like buddy up to, become friends with.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to, because you're gonna need them, right?
Mm-hmm.
The caretaker,
Yep.
whoever works in the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
and the people in the office.
Yeah.
And like your
Yep.
TA, yeah, of course, like your assistant, and there are other people, but people of like outside of the classroom.
Yeah.
I think though, like those are really important people to kind of be
Fully
friendly,
agree.
like get to know, just be like, hi, I'm Leanne, nice to meet you.
Yeah. Yeah, because everyone thinks like, oh, what about my department and the any TAs that I'm working with if you're a class teacher, or if you're a TA, what about what class teacher am I gonna be working with?
Exactly.
But people forget like
Yeah,
the caretakers, the site staff,
yeah,
they
like
they run that place practically.
yeah. Hmm.
And yeah, you need to know them and they need to know you, and because they're the people you're going to need favors from or immediate stuff from or asking stupid questions, or will need to, as was my case. I think February I locked myself, well, I didn't lock myself out of the building, I just didn't bring my key when I went to go drop some stuff off over the half term, and
Hmm.
had to like call the caretakers being like, I'm so sorry, I need to interrupt whatever important work you're actually doing so you can come let me in the building because I'm an idiot.
Okay.
Yeah. So, things like that. Definitely the caretakers. That's my number one.
Yeah, like
Agreed.
that's always my kind of advice, and it's always what I do, because you need those people, and you need them like outside of your classroom. Also, right, like, in terms of like the staff in the canteen, namely the staff in the kitchen, like the lunch ladies, of course, yes, but the staff in the kitchen in primary, because you have to do cooking in the primary curriculum. And you need the kitchen staff sometimes because you need their ovens. Like I've had time before. I was in year 1 and we were doing cooking, and it was like my assistant was quite buddy with the like the chefs in the kitchen. I was like, "Can you just ask them if we can use their oven?" Because it was like a massive industrial oven, and they were like, "Yeah, "Of course you can." I was like, "Great, thank you very much."
Nice. So when I was ahead of year and had to deal with like a whole bunch of stuff, that was to do with kids getting lunch or not getting lunch or jumping the queue or whatever. I talked to canteen staff a lot more than I do now because I don't ever get food from the canteen either. So I basically have nothing to do with that. But I think the two, and just to prove that, you need to be on good terms with people, because anyone could end up doing a favor for anybody. So I have twice in my career now had to go to people because I've dropped my phone in liquid and desperately needed rice to help dry it out faster. The first time I dropped it in the toilet, which we don't discuss, and the second time I dropped it like bottom where all the holes are, bottom down in a mug of tea. The possible scenario. And I just didn't trust that it wasn't what I didn't get somewhere. And the first time I got some from the food tech room, and the second time I went to they didn't have any, and I went to the canteen being like, please, 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 do you have any rice? Do you have any rice? Do you have any rice? And they're looking at me like I was a moron, but they got me some rice, and my phone was okay both times. But yeah. You never know.
Yeah, like make friends with people outside of your classroom. I think you can get stuck in your classroom as a bubble sometimes, and you need to like befriend the wider community.
Yeah. And
Like,
people like, I know, okay. So I've never been in a school where people have not been accused of being in cliques or being cliquey or, being in group. I think like we're people and that's what we do. And they're of friends. And just, I also think it's kind of exacerbated in schools when we're around students, when we're around young people who behave in certain ways. Like that can kind of come out, not that the adults start necessarily acting like children, but I think the things we kind of accuse the kids of or notice with the kids, we can start kind of projecting onto our coworkers a little bit. So like every school I've worked in, there's been groups of people, and some groups that I've been part of and some that I haven't, been accused of being cliquey or being like, you know, socially elitist, I suppose. But I don't necessarily think, I mean, I'm sure there are groups of truly awful people in a number of schools because some people are truly awful, but I think you need to be careful not to be put off, but like form your own opinions of people and keep open minds about individuals outside of your department, because if you listen to the people that you happen to be around all the time, you might write off some, like everyone outside of that department or someone or a group of people maybe who are always in the staff room together, or a certain other department that you guys never see. You might write them off as being, oh, they're only friends with each other, they don't talk, or they're not, or they're weird or whatever. Like just you know, be willing to make friends and communicate with people. But also sometimes people are awful and like but like I've experienced a few times people saying, like, in different schools, people say things like, oh, that new person never comes in the staff room and we don't know who that person is, or is she like, what's wrong with her, or why does that department never come to the staff room? Like at my very first school, the whole English department had this reputation that we never went in the staff room until a few of us started actually going in, because we only wanted to talk to each other and we were only interested in, and it's like we were actually genuinely all friends. Like we were all friends. We went on holidays together and stuff, and it was great. But also it turned into this weird thing, like half joking thing, where people would accuse us of being posh. I think because a couple people had gone to Cambridge, like that's a crime. But then and like they would joke about like how we only have quiche for lunch. Like it was ridiculous, and sometimes it was funny, but it was also something more serious. Like they genuinely thought like that we were just a bunch of posh, and I was like, I'm exempt from your social categories in this country. Don't bring that on me. But people can be really, really weird. So I think just like go in the staff room, say hello, introduce yourself, talk to people, but also don't let other people's pre-existing judgments of
That's true. Yeah.
other departments or other people make you view them in a negative way. I think just try to keep an open mind.
Yeah, like I think it can be scary also, can't it, to walk into the staff room? I mean, like, first day, you don't know anyone, but yeah, I think it's important because, well, you need people around you in the job, and especially like for primary, if you're in like a one-form entry primary, you know, you don't have a department around you. You kind of only have your like classroom team, and maybe you don't even have a classroom team because we all know there's no funding in education, and so a lot of classroom teams are like just you by yourself. And even for your like sanity, you need at lunchtime, I think, like a little bit of banter, bit of like chit chat, you know, like split your lunch, do marking for maybe half your lunch, go into the staff room. I think even if you like walk in and just get a cup of tea, you know, like because I would be nervous to walk in if I didn't know anybody. Oh, like I would be. I know I would be. But
it could be really intimidating, and I think some people, and that can, I think, in a way, be a good thing for some people, because it's easy to put people. How am I supposed to say this without saying don't be yourself or like dull shine? If you come on too strong, or you're too like overly enthusiastic and bubbly, people will be sitting there wishing you would shut up. Like just so some people, maybe that like caution, I guess, would be a good thing. But I don't want to, like, I'm not the expert on making friends or being social. I'm really, really quite the opposite. So I'm not gonna. But I've also seen that. I've seen people come in and be like, act like they own the place automatically, and then it gets to people's backs up, especially if you've got teachers who've been there for 10 years. They're like, who is this guy? Like, it can rub people the wrong way, I think, in schools when you've got those established staff. Sometimes, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I also feel like if you're the kind of person that's going to judge somebody for being enthusiastic, maybe take a look at yourself. But people are weird.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe we'll do a pause here and we can talk about the Teachers Talk Radio newsletter, because we have quite a few people listening. If you're listening, we hope you had a nice bank holiday. Thank you for listening. If you have any like newbie tips, please put them in the comments. You can type them in the comments and we can read your comments and we can put them up on the screen. Like we're like BBC News here, you know, like very professional.
It's great.
So yeah, we have a Teachers Talk Radio newsletter and you can subscribe to our newsletter, all about teaching, give you some shows to listen to. It's called Sound Bites and Insights and it's delivered to 10,000 educators a week. It'll come into your email inbox. It contains a curated selection of 4 standout Teachers Talk Radio shows from the week, exclusive discounts. You'll get exclusive offers from our sponsors. And it's really simple. You can sign up at the website. We have a website, ttradio.org/newsletter. So you'll get some really good shows to listen to. Hopefully ours will appear there sometimes. And our other sponsor is John Catt. So our show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational Publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Level up your professional development today and visit. So here's the website in case you want to write it down or just pop it into your phone or whatever you're listening to us on. Their website is johncattbookshop.com. You can explore the full range of titles. And we have a 20% off your order. We have a discount code, which is in capital letters, JCTTR2425. And John Catt have been with us for a long time. They've got a great selection of books, so make sure you go and have a look on their website. Maybe there's some advice on how to start at a new school.
Yeah, because it's hard.
Scary, right? Like it's
scary. When you know, not only do you not know people and you have to deal with the whole like social side of things, it
is hard, yeah, because teaching's quite social in a way. Not social, but it is social. Because when I moved countries, I was like, I don't have any friends, but actually, like, thankfully, because of the way the profession is, I feel like you make a community. You find like communities within teaching. Because it's a profession. You like find friends, communities within the job, which I don't think you find in like every other job.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Offices might go for drinks on like a Friday night, but then they'll be like, "Okay, bye, see you Monday." Whereas,
and I think of like the people that everyone. I think of that stereotype that everybody hates. You know, the blue suit and the brown shoes, the corporate minded, like SLT, that the judgmental hard ass, the those kind of people that the average Joe Blogs teacher never wants to see again, let alone work with. And I think like they drastically and tragically underestimate the importance of humanity in schools and being social and being decent to people. And the people who seem to actually enjoy their job and like their coworkers and generally aren't miserable, money-minded, insane people are the ones who actually get along with their colleagues and see them as humans and have a little time to be social, even if it's not every Friday or every lunchtime. I think it's really, if you treat teaching like I actually think we need to treat it more like I'm going to work, I'm coming home, and I'm not thinking about my job. I think we need to do more of that. But if you treat it as I'm going to work and these are my colleagues, these are not my friends, and you have that hard line from the get, I feel like you're going to find it really, really difficult to ever feel successful or feel satisfied from that job. It's just not that kind of a place unless you want to work for a bunch of corporate-minded machines.
I think,
and I've been there, and it's not fun, and no one's happy, let alone the children. So it's not right.
I think school has to be a friendly place, and that comes from staff. So like if you kind of show just like a friendly face from day one, people will notice it.
Yeah, because I noticed that at my interview for my current school, because my number one thing was I'm never working for that type of person again,
Mm.
ever.
Mm.
And if I had any sense of it, if I even suspected, if I even saw a man in blue suit and brown shoes, I was gonna literally say, "Thank you for your time, but this isn't for me. I'm not gonna waste any more of it."
Yeah,
But I didn't. I just everyone was warm and friendly and genuine and human.
that's nice.
And I feel like for all of my school's flaws, because everywhere is flawed,
Mhm.
that is that's what keeps people there, and that's the core of the goodness of it, I think.
Mhm.
So it is so important. So like even if you're not the most social person, just try.
Yeah.
Just try.
So I feel like that's like coping strategies for like fitting into the community. But then like when I start new schools, I kind of worry about like the admin side of the job.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I remember I'll never forget. I think it was like my first teaching job. I had just started. How he had just had this like meeting about assessment data, and I just like got to the end of the meeting, and honestly, I felt like crying because I just did not have a clue. Like I didn't understand what they were talking about. I mean, like I was an NQT, like just an NQT. It was like September, like first inset. I was like, I don't understand what they're talking about. Like, what am I gonna do? All this assessment data and assessments like so big in education. And I just was like, I wasn't like the verge of tears.
Yeah.
I
It
think,
is overwhelming though. But
yeah,
not just for an NQT. Like you go to a new school and there's no
yeah,
matter what their kind of whatever pre-meetings you have or whatever their on staff is like ahead of first day, you're gonna go through those first few days, which are those inset days, and the amount of information that you're confronted with, almost all of which is totally new
yeah,
systems, new platforms, new grading, new people, new timetables, just new everything. It can be terrifying, and I've learned to just not get panicked by that. Just I can sit
okay.
there and think like, this feels awful, and
Yeah,
I'm not going to remember 95% of it. I will take notes of things that I think are important because I don't even know what I should be taking notes on right now.
yeah,
I'm
no.
going to take notes that I think I should take, um, particularly things I can like ask specific people about later.
Mm.
And one of the things I always take notes on is like who the specific people are, like who the
Well,
SLT who
that's
introduce themselves are and what their focus is, because I don't want to have to go flipping through a staff handbook to find that. Um, and just stay calm about it and just be like, yeah, this sucks, but that's okay because this is normal and everyone experiences this. And it's not that I failed to prepare adequately. It's not that they're doing a bad job of introducing me to anything. This is just how it is on the first few days, and that's
yeah.
okay. And as long as you have a team and like a head of department or a line manager that's going to support you in that and be helpful,
Mhm,
which most people try to do,
mhm.
then it's okay because it is something that everybody goes through. And sensible schools, I've only worked in one or been set foot in one that where it wasn't like this. Sensible schools with sensible people do not expect you to be able to hit the ground running when literally everything around you is new.
Yeah,
So just stay calm.
yeah. That's a good point. Write down who is who, and then you know who to ask your questions to. But I also think that in those like insets or like induction days, you take on a lot of information, and a lot of the time the information is not about teaching. It's all
Mhm.
the stuff that surrounds teaching. So I think that you should just like go easy on yourself, and for the first week or so, just like
Mhm.
teach, just as long as you're teaching, teach the lessons that you want to teach, get to know the kids. And if you can do those two things for the first week, first 2 weeks, first month even, then I feel like it's like a good place to start. I don't think you can do everything in your first week.
No.
You can't learn everything in your first week, can't do everything in your first week, so like don't expect yourself to be able to do that. um,
Mhm.
and it's a bit cliche because I feel like people are always like, just get to know your children. And I feel like have lessons planned, teach lessons, and enjoy teaching the lessons. And I feel like that's enough for the first week.
Yeah, and in some schools, it's a real accomplishment for you to be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there, and not have like got the timings wrong or let a class out 15 minutes early because you listened to the wrong bell, or I've done that, or or like forgot you're on break duty. Like it's
Oh,
just
so many times.
focus on the basics first.
I remember like starting high school, the first week in high school, and I just remember like we used to just follow each other around from lesson to lesson because just didn't know where you were going. I mean, like in primary,
Yeah.
it's different because it's like this is your classroom and you stay there. So I feel like in terms of that in primary, there's a little bit more security in that.
Yeah.
For your worries and your anxiety, you don't move from classroom to classroom. You just stay where you are. But I feel like if you miss something in your first week and it's doesn't maybe like affect the children, it's like I don't know what it might be, then you need SLT that are going to be like, it's okay, it's your first week, you're settling in.
This is the thing, right? For everything I've said about just like, and we've said about taking it easy on yourself, and I've said about staying calm, it is okay. The first few weeks is when you need to be looking for red flags that you might not have already picked up on. And I know this from personal experience, and I've heard so many stories from other teachers as well. Yeah. I don't mean the red flag. Like if you're the one who makes mistakes, that's fine. If things are, you haven't adjusted to the system, or you forgot to register, or you can't log into something, it's okay. What you need to watch for, and I wish I knew this a few years ago, is how the senior staff, your line managers, SLT, respond to you not being an immediate expert in the systems of that particular institution.
Important.
Because if their response is supportive, or pointing out what you should have done, but like in a constructive, helpful way that's gonna make sure you actually can do it right next time and you don't feel terrible about yourself, great, good. If they are judgmental or patronizing or angry or calling you out in front of other people or implying that you should know this already, or just general awful human things, that is something to definitely take note of, because that's the kind of thing that you wouldn't necessarily have picked up on during an interview, because in the interview situation, there's a really good chance if you've been hired, it was either a very strong interview day, or they were trying to sell it to you, or it's just now that you're actually there, they have you under their thumb, you should be doing X, Y, and Z. How people respond is important, and how people higher up in a hierarchy treat people beneath them tells you a lot about that individual, but also about the institution and the system that they're operating within, the values of that place, whether or not this is the right thing for you. Because if you get any indication that these are not supportive people, and I'm not talking about like that random SLT member that you see like once a week, if that, I'm talking about the people that actually line manage you or impact your daily life. If that's a negative situation, then I would seriously consider if this is a good life choice, or we need to reconsider. Not to scare anyone, but I just feel like we're so sorry, but we're so, because we martyr ourselves so much for this job, it's really easy for us to be like, oh, it's fine, I'll deal with it, or oh, I'll just do this at home, or oh, it's fine, I was stupid, I forgot, like to talk down to ourselves, because that's what we do all the time. We sacrifice our own needs for other people, and we shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, I know, I agree totally. And I think, like in an interview state, like in an observation state, you're not seeing reality, are you? Like no. You're not seeing reality. You're seeing like a different person, and you might see a different side of a school, like when Ofsted are coming, or when someone's being observed, and everybody's like, okay, like sit nicely and like behave correctly. And no, I mean, I've never thought of it that way, but you're right, like keep your eyes open, I guess, in the first few weeks.
Just get out of a horrible situation before it gets worse, before you're like entrenched. But also, yeah, as long as you're looking for genuine red flags and not just looking for reasons to doubt yourself when you know that you're doing everything that you can and people are actually being decent.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us suffer this weird imposter syndrome. Like, all I'm good at is this one subject that I teach and I can't do it. It's why so many of us are stuck in teaching. Like, we feel like we can't do anything else when we actually don't want to be doing this job anymore or don't want to be in the system that we're in.
Yeah.
But we feel like we can't do anything else. So we put up with stuff we shouldn't put up with.
Yeah.
But anyway. And also, and there's the other, like, I've thought this at various points in my career as well. Like, if I leave where I am now, I'm just going to have to be the new guy again. Like, I'm going to be the new girl again. And we moved every year of my life when I was a kid up until I was 9. So I was the new girl every single school year.
Wow.
Every single school year that I was a child. And it is exhausting. And so when you find somewhere, it's like the last thing you want to do is, like, you want to be thinking, I can put down roots and stay here a while, I can make this work. But sometimes you gotta pull them roots up and move along.
So how did you kind of, what were your strategies, I guess, like
as a child?
Yeah,
To be
late still to adulthood. Like, you're still the newbie in a school. It's kind of the same as being the kid newbie. You don't know anyone. You don't know where to go. You don't know what time lunch is. You don't know where the toilet is.
Okay. Well, do you know how I coped? I became emotionally shut off, excessively self-sufficient, independent to a fault, and I pushed people away before I had to go. So it wasn't exactly like productive coping strategies. I've had to learn as an adult, like, a whole different way of doing this.
Yeah.
So I'm not, no, my childhood experiences do not really, I actually find myself, I've always found myself fighting against those childhood experiences in order to be a productive adult and a decent, I don't say employee, but, like, in order to be a decent teacher and a decent colleague. It's like a constant fight against those experiences.
Need a smarter way to teach? Wish your lessons had more impact? Eduflix.com. Stream educational films for teachers and students in or out of the classroom. Keep students engaged. No ads. No distractions. Try it free for 30 days at eduflix.com/try. Use code TTR. Get 50% off all orders made before June 1st. Eduflix.com.
Hi secondary school teachers, we're Apps for Good, and we give schools like yours free introductory computing courses. Our courses are for everyone, including those who aren't computing teachers, and they're fully equipped with resources mapped to the UK computing curriculums. Independent learning is central to our courses. Your students will develop essential and digital skills by working in teams to create prototype apps. We'll even connect you with industry volunteers to give real-world feedback. Let's empower every young person you teach to shape their future with technology. Speak to us at www.appsforgood.org.
Did you know that every year, half of disadvantaged children who are top attainers at primary school don't go on to achieve top GCSE maths results? At Axiom Maths, we exist to change that. Our fully funded program helps schools nurture young mathematicians through weekly face-to-face maths circles, where pupils tackle challenging and exciting problems outside the national curriculum. With just under £3,000 annual funding, expert training and quality resources, we give schools everything they need to inspire the next generation of mathematical thinkers. Want to make a difference? Visit axiommaths.com today and join over 400 schools delivering maths circles across the UK.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Don't miss out! Level up your professional development today and visit johncattbookshop.com to explore the full range of titles. Use the code JCTTR2425 for 20% off your order. Happy reading!
So I feel like the more you have been the new guy, the harder, especially as a kid, the harder it is actually to do it as an adult. That's my personal experience.
Really? Yeah. Well, you've got to change it as an adult. You probably have to like assimilate differently, don't you?
Yeah. And you have to go into it assuming
Yeah.
that you're going to be there for a length of time and these relationships are worth cultivating. Whereas as a
Yeah.
child, I learned very quickly, like, I'm not going to see these people.
Yeah.
I'm only going to be around them for a certain length of time. I'm not going to see them afterwards. So why would I get emotionally invested? Why would I make an effort? Why would I be anything other than exactly what I want to be when I want to be it? Why would I adjust my set? Like, and I get all these comments about, you know, independent and you know, strong-minded and confident in herself. And it's like, because I had no reason to socially adapt at all, because I knew I was just going to go.
Yeah.
And that's not healthy. So trying to be an adult in a, like, for any length of time, any prolonged time, it has taken a lot of kind of maturing and growing up. And I feel really bad for people at my first school who had to tolerate me in my first like actual professional job.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think yeah. I feel like we've covered a lot of good advice
Yeah.
on what to do when you're the newbie. If you are a newbie and you're listening, you can let us know in the comments. Like, what are your tips? Or if you're not a newbie. In fact, I would like to call out my mum, because my mum just retired and she was a pharmacist at the same pharmacy for 35 years.
Whoa.
So, no newbies here. And
Wow.
if you would like to be a newbie, we do have lots of shows that need hosts. So you could be a newbie at Teachers Talk Radio if you want to be. We're very friendly.
Mm-hmm.
We will talk to you. I mean, we don't have a staff room, but we will talk to you in our chats.
The internet is our staff room.
Yes, the internet is our staff room. The app is our staff room. But
Yeah.
No, I think what you said about like just like get to know the staff. Don't be hard on yourself. Look out for red flags. Like, don't be scared. I would be scared probably to look out for red flags. Like you said, I'd be like, oh, no, it's fine. Because I've just started the new job. I went through the interview process. Interview lessons are possibly the hardest thing to do.
Oh my God. It's horrible. It's horrible.
I think you go through a lot to get into these teaching positions, and then you get into them and you're just like, no, it's fine. Like, it's okay. I don't like, that's okay. That won't happen again to me. But actually,
but it does. Yeah. If it happens once, it'll happen again. Just
you can see a culture very quickly.
Yeah.
Like,
which is why like talking to people beforehand is really important about the school and like how what the timetable's like and what it's like to live that day to day and how staff are treated, those kinds of things, rather than listening to people's individual biased opinions about other individuals. But getting a sense of like the general daily existence of the place is really important. And the students as well, to be fair. Oh, and I meant to say this earlier. I've known two separate people who've done this on their first day, written down in a notebook or a planner or whatever they have, every single password for every single account.
That is true.
And then it's gone missing. Don't do that. Like, don't do that. Put them on your phone, in a notes app on your phone, because your phone's locked. And no one's gonna access it. But like, you will get GDPR'd. Like, don't write everything down. Yeah.
It's so bad. It defeats the object of a password, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, don't do it.
So I have advice in terms of that. At my last school, was part of a trust, and I literally, like, when I started, every single day for like 2 weeks, I was getting like login emails, like log into this, log into this, log into this, here's this, here's this, here's that login, and here's this website. Like, I can't deal with this all now. So here is my advice. When you start and you get your emails set up, make a folder in your emails called logins. And don't even click on the email. If you see an email, and it's like, if you see an email and it's like, register for this website, log into this website, don't read it at like 8:30 in the morning, because you're never going to do anything about it at 8:30. Are you going to do something? You're going to start logging into like the website that you use to plan a trip, are you? You're not. So don't read it, leave it unread, move it into your logins folder, and at the end of the day, 2 weeks in, Thursday evening, Wednesday afternoon in PPA, open up that folder and start going into those logins and setting it up, because you're not going to do it at 8 in the morning on a Monday.
That's such a good idea. I wish I had a separate login folder. I think I might actually go create one now. But one of the first things I do, I'm not kidding. One of the first things I do on the first, actually, I try and do this before. If I have login, if I have access to my email account before the first day, I'll do it before. If not, I'll do it on the first day. Okay. I have folders for everything. So and sometimes it's really like when I was ahead of year, there would be a few different folders for my year group. If you had a form, when I had a form, it was like a folder for my form, and then it's literally just like English department, school this, miscellaneous, which includes like personal stuff that for various reasons sometimes you have to deal with, even though you shouldn't. And I set up the folders, and then anything that comes through from day dot, the first day, gets, if I deal with it, if I've read it, no action needed, it goes straight in the file. If I've read it and I haven't dealt with it yet, it stays in my inbox. So like my inbox is my to-do list, and then everything is filed away from the very, very, very first day. Like, I don't know, I can probably count on one hand the number of regular teachers. I think SLT have to do stuff like that or they'll go insane, most of them. But like classroom teachers, we're way too lax with the inbox, and I'm tired of people telling me they miss my email. Like, just use the folders. Like, just use the folders.
Yeah.
Use the folders.
I do a lot of like NQTs where it's just like email, and I'm like, what are you doing? No, your inbox. The best feeling is an empty inbox.
Yep. And it's so simple. It's so simple. Drag and drop, people. Drag and drop.
But I feel
you're organized like from the first day, and no one's gonna judge you if they see over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Because I judge people.
It's like my inbox is empty. On that. Not judge me.
Good for you, Leanne. I would expect nothing.
Thanks. I think they don't teach you that, right? As a teacher, they don't teach you to manage an inbox. That's like a business skill. So if you're like Bachelor of Education straight into the classroom, how would you know how to manage an inbox? You wouldn't.
That's that's life admin skills, though.
Yeah,
that's like if you're an organized person and you realize that folders exist, you're gonna figure it out quite quickly. But if like they certainly don't go through like how to cope with the admin pressures of teaching every day. Like there's no course, there's no section of a PGCE that's devoted to managing information that people are constantly throwing at you for 8 hours a day.
Yeah,
so no.
It's not standard. I think that's important advice, especially if you're an NQT. That's like, it's nothing to do with teaching. It's nothing to do with the kids, but it is something that you're going to have to manage. That's just like part of like, the world we live in, 21st century. You will have to deal with technology, and you'll have to deal with technology that needs a response. Whether it be an email, like a message from a parent, everything is technology, and everything is like coming at you all the time. So you have to have ways to manage it where you don't have to deal with it all the time. I think like that's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you do have an email address, you can get our Teachers Talk Radio newsletter. Which we will tell you about. So we have quite a few listeners. So thank you very much for listening. We really appreciate it. We know it's bank holiday. There's probably a bit of like bank holiday blues because we're going back to school tomorrow. But we hope we have given you a bit of joy on your Monday evening. And if you would like some more joy in your inbox, you can subscribe to our weekly newsletter.
Sorry, that's great.
I teach the little children. I have to come up with a few like snippets, Even if amuse myself. So the newsletter is called Soundbites and Insights, and it's delivered to 10,000 educators weekly. It will contain a curated selection of 4 standout Teachers Talk Radio shows from the week, exclusive discounts and exclusive offers from our sponsors. You can sign up on our website at ttradio.org/newsletter. We also have John Catt, and our show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt, who are educational publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. You can level up your professional development today and visit johncattbookshop.com to explore the full range of titles. Use the code, and it's capital letters, JCTTR2425 for 20% off your order. I realized in lockdown that I use my hands a lot. I'm sorry.
So do I.
Okay, good. I mean, I remember like phoning children, being like, "Hi, you okay? Yeah, fine. Okay, so I'm going to teach you a maths lesson on the phone," and I'd be like this. Like, what am I doing? They can't
Wait. You had to phone them.
Yes, we had to
and
call
teach
children.
maths on the phone.
Didn't have to, but there were like we did video lessons, and there were times when I would be marking the work, and I'd be like, "No, this kid did not understand." So I remember phoning it.
Oh, okay.
No,
Got
just like a one-off. But I remember phoning a kid and teaching a maths lesson.
Yeah.
Or,
okay,
no,
sorry. I thought they were you had to like call up all these students individually and teach them.
That's a red flag. But I do remember recording, or I don't know, like teaching online and pointing to stuff on the laptop, being like, "You can't see what I'm pointing to. What am I doing?"
I've done that, yeah.
Which is another thing of like be ready to adapt, like be amenable to adapting new school. I don't think you should have to change the way you teach, because that's personal to everybody. But
any place that demands that you do that is a red flag.
Yes.
Yeah. They hired you because of your skills and your expertise and your style and your knowledge and all of those things. And if they demand you do a 180 to fit into a box, then it's not a good fit.
No. Or if there's like, "Here's the scheme, teach it." But I'm not very well.
Although there's something I know there have been a lot of discussions about this. If they say here's a scheme of work, or here's the booklet, and here's a series of lessons. If they say that, but then say like, "Feel free to adapt and change for your own class," that's a green flag. Because they're giving you stuff to work with, but they're allowing you freedom and autonomy to do what you think you need to do for your students. Green flag.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that. Green flag up. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Wow. There was something else I just thought of that I was like, oh, right. Again, from personal experience. So familiarize yourself. I know this is not so much for NQTs, because I feel like if you go in as an ECT, I feel like you're kind of forced to do this more. But as an experienced teacher, if you're switching schools, no one really checks up on this. You kind of have to like tick a box and say that you've read 12 different policies. And no one I know reads them. At best, they're skimmed. Okay. Yes. At best, they're skimmed. Some people I know that I will never name don't even bother. They just tick the boxes and sign it. Yeah. It's the things. Reads them. Because some stuff, sorry, my dog's whining. Some stuff may surprise you. Some stuff you need to know. Some things may bite you if you don't read them. Just read the policies. It's my final bit of advice.
That's true, actually. Yeah, it can bite you in the later. Yeah, that's true.
Well, it is 8:30 and my dog is whining. And my cat's here.
Well, your cat's made an appearance, so that we know it's the end of the show.
Yeah, it's right on time.
Yeah, he always appears at the end. So if you are if you're the newbie tomorrow, good luck. We hope our advice is helpful, and or don't be too hard on yourself if you're the newbie tomorrow. No. Yeah, because it's hard.
You'll be fine
as it is, and so we will see you in 2 weeks' time.
Bye for now.
Bye.
You've been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live and listen back at ttradio.org. We look forward to hearing from you next time on Teachers Talk Radio.